We are here with Kevin Oeste. Kevin wears a lot of hats.
Yeah, for a guy with one head.
Yeah, I know, and no current hat.
For sure.
But one of the things that we wanted to do today to chat with Kevin was that yesterday he was broadcasting live from the RacingJunk booth, interviewing people. We wanted to turn the tables on him just a little bit and put him on the other side of the microphone.
For sure.
So Kevin, introduce yourself, because I think you can do a much better job than I can.
Like you suggested, I wear a bunch of different hats.
Yes.
We run kind of a three-ring automotive circus. My wife and I run the V8 Speed and Resto Shop,
right,
where we build and restore muscle cars, high-performance cars, classics, and whatnot. But I have a bit of a television and media background.
Yes.
So I used to produce Hot Rod Magazine TV on Speed Channel. And then a few years into that, we decided to launch our own production company and created a show called V8 TV, which I think that shirt there, which aired on a cable and satellite channel about building muscle cars. And people would watch the show and call up saying, hey, I want a car, which launched the shop, right? Which we weren't really planning on. But today we've got, 32 cars in our possession.
That's amazing.
26 people on staff. I'm still not sure how that happened. But my wife is a lot smarter than I am, so she makes all this stuff go. But then along the way, we started doing some podcasts. We do the V8 Radio podcast and a Bonneville podcast, Bonneville Up to Speed it's called. And I do a lot of live stage work for SEMA and for Bonnier and the Muscle Car Corvette Nationals and whatnot.
So if people recognize your voice, it is probably, if they aren't already listeners, they're just like, I know that guy.
Sure, you might have seen our V8
Voice
TV
of
videos
SEMA,
on YouTube or
the
Muscle Car of the Week show or blah, blah, blah. So
I'm
just a guy that gets to do fun stuff.
Yes, you do. You get to do a lot of fun stuff. What are some of the fun things you've gotten to do here?
This show this year is off the charts.
It is, in fact.
Not only is it a big show, but it's super high quality. The attitude is great. Everybody's excited to be here. And it's a reunion of sorts. Yeah. You know, you see a lot of friends in the industry and get to see a lot of really new and great racing parts. So I've been just talking with people a lot. And I appreciate, RacingJunk for allowing us to record right over here. We recorded 5 different Bonneville episodes yesterday alone.
Great.
One of them, for example, was we'll call him a grandfather and his brother who started racing at Bonneville in 1961.
Oh, wow.
And then his son, who's got kids of his own, it turns out between grandfather, great uncle, grandfather's wife, son's sister, son's wife, and juniors all have records at Bonneville.
That's amazing.
Right? So you come here and talk to people and you hear these kind of stories. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the most fun things for us is always, even like everybody is taking the T-shirts are being given away right behind us at the RacingJunk booth, and everybody is taking a turn at that. And one of the things I love is hearing how people are connected to the industry, right? Like what they do, what kind of racing they do, what kind of racing they're involved in. Their excuses for not putting the shirt on.
Yeah, right. Well, it's one of the most, passionate industries.
Right.
And it's fun because like all the different parts and things that you see here were started by people who are into it.
Right.
And they decided to make a go of it and create a life in the industry. So they're risk takers, which makes them interesting people.
Right.
It's a great place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said that you guys have some stuff in the shops. You have 32 cars currently. Yeah. What does that feel like to be like now, not only just talking about it, writing about it, but...
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate that I get to be the guy that a lot of times talks with the customers to try and plan the car and pick the colors and the wheels and, we do just about everything in-house.
Okay, that's
outside of engine machining.
Right.
And one of the things that my wife is doing right now is she's over on the machine side because we're talking about putting an engine machine shop together as well. So she's doing all that.
Okay.
But we have an extremely talented group of technicians that do the work, I'll say. So I'm more media, video, and photos. But it's really cool to be able to walk through the shop and go, this is awesome.
Right.
And our company has a mission statement, and the mission statement is to connect people to the best times of their lives through things with wheels, right? So it doesn't matter if it's a 56 Chevy or if it's a late model Corvette.
Right.
the best times of your life might not have happened yet.
Right.
You know, so some people it's we help them get the car they've always wanted. Others is, I used to have one of these and now I need it again. But what's been fun for us is RacingJunk has solved a problem that we've had, and a lot of times we'll restore a car and have a whole bunch of stuff left over. And these are good parts, but they just didn't fit the build.
Right.
So working with you guys, now we've got a great place to put those in the hands of people that want them through the RacingJunk.com site. So we really appreciate that.
Oh, we love that, right? Like, and it's one of the things for us that's always been true is that RacingJunk was started to serve the grassroots racer, right? We didn't just see a need, but our employees and the people who founded it, they were passionate about the industry as well, and making that stuff known. It was a service, like a legitimate service in addition to a business.
Yeah, right.
And it's one of the reasons when we come to PRI, it does feel like a reunion, right? We've got the T-shirt giveaway, we've got people in the booth, and a lot of that is because we want to celebrate the industry. We want to, in a way, give back to all of these folks who are so passionate about it.
Yeah.
So.
And I learned yesterday that RacingJunk's been around 23 years now. That's awesome. That tells you that you definitely served a need.
Yes, and we've continued to try to do that and adapt as things have changed, right?
Yeah.
One of the biggest things that sells on the site, obviously we don't, just our little plug there, we don't take a commission. It is all between the buyer and seller, but trailers, right?
For sure.
Trailers are and always have been huge because everybody needs a trailer, right?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and you want to find a trusted source on where to find one too.
Absolutely.
You know, if you're going to a particular trailer retailer, it's just their stuff. You know.
Yeah.
So I don't think there's any limit to the racing and performance automotive contextual items you can find at RacingJunk.
Totally. Oh, thank you. That is an excellent plug that we didn't even pay you for.
Yeah. How about that? I stayed up all night trying to get that down.
So here's my question.
Yeah.
Do you have a dream car? Like, do you either own or do you have one in mind?
Yeah, it's a great question because I call myself kind of non-denominational.
Right.
I like just about everything.
Right.
I find something cool in every single car that's out there. And honestly, one of my missions recently has been to help eliminate some of the divisiveness among car enthusiasts.
Yes.
Because there's always like the Ford-Chevy rivalry, and that's fun. But there are forces kind of working against all of us right now. It doesn't matter if you're into import performance or off-road.
Yeah.
We need to kind of stick together.
Yes.
So let's knock off some of that nonsense on social. But to answer your question, a car that I've always wanted that I don't know if I'll ever get a chance to own would be a 1970 Buick GSX.
Okay, yeah.
So they came in two colors, Saturn Yellow or Apollo White. So there was a little bit of a space program tie-in.
Yeah,
with
totally.
The engine was a 455, and there was a performance package called the Stage 1.
Okay.
And these are just awesome muscle cars, but they're also very comfortable to drive and kind of roomy. So today they're $200,000. So there's that.
Right.
But I'm fortunate to own a few cars that are pretty cool. All of them do have a nostalgic tie-in.
Yeah.
So I have a 1970 Buick Riviera, which is a little bit off the mark from the GS, but I had one in college, was able to find another one, so I got one of those. My wife has a 54 Chevy pickup truck that she drives. It still has we actually converted it to a 4-speed on the column, which is pretty cool. It's a Muncie out of a Corvette, so that was pretty cool. But still the original 6-cylinder. We have a 1962 Ford Galaxy 500 XL convertible.
Very nice.
And that looks original on the outside, but it's got a modern fuel-injected engine and overdrive transmission and better disc brakes and all that stuff. And the latest one is an acquisition that's taken me about 32 years to find. When I was a kid in the 80s, my dad bought a custom van.
Okay.
Right? And we had this for a few years in the 80s, and I was a kid. We used it everything from like a clubhouse. My buddies and I hung out with it, and then when I got my license, we had a lot of fun with it. My old man sold it. I found another one that was done by the same conversion company that did the one we used to have. In fact, they were built in the same month. And I found this thing, and I told my wife, I'm like, oh my gosh, it was like seeing Elvis. I'm like, here it is. And it's not the same one, but it's another one built, just like it. And she's like, what are you going to do? And I said, well, I got to get it.
Right.
Because if I let it get away, I'll be upset.
Right.
Now, what I'm going to do with it, I'm not sure yet.
Right.
But it's got murals of mountains on the sides and all this crazy stuff. So all my friends are like, you got the van back. So they're planning like trips to Mexico and, you know, all this crazy stuff. So it's fun.
That's spectacular. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah.
thank you so much for the broadcasting of the booth. It's always fun for us to see the guests that come in.
For sure.
Just to have that stuff being.
We had some great guests here, by the way, yesterday. So
yeah, please call out.
We had Wayne Jezel from Jezel Valve Train, some of the top valve train innovators in the world. Yeah. We had Mike Copeland from Arrington Performance, and he's the guy behind the hydrogen conversions to keep our piston-driven engines alive. Yeah. So he was here. We had Ben Kaminsky, who heads up the SEMA garage in Detroit.
Yes.
That's his program. He was here. So we had a lot of fun people here. So.
Yeah, it was a great rotating cast of folks over there. So we'll look forward. Any idea when those will?
We're going to start metering those out, but the great thing is we appreciate RacingJunk for sharing some of these podcasts and stuff, and so, you know, if you're a member of RacingJunk, if you're on the email list, hopefully they'll include them again. You've done it before. We love that.
We do.
We see a big spike.
Yes, we will continue.
So
that's one of the things that we looked at, and we're like, we have these amazing partners. We need to make sure people are seeing this. So.
For sure.
Well, we can't wait to see those come out.
Yeah, no, thank you. It's been a great show. We appreciate it.
Excellent. Thanks.
Yep.